So if I'm going to show you get rid of 7 first. That's what everybody likes. Okay, the other solution is to get rid of 5 first. And both are correct, but this way is usually easier. Okay, so let's take a look how we get rid of 7 first. Now, as we talked about before, if you want to get rid of number, you want to do the opposite operation. Since we have +7, we do -7 both sides. That cancels the 7 and the 7, so they cancel out. We're left with a 5x equals -5. And now we can divide both sides by 5 because multiplications, we do the inverse. To reverse multiplication, we do division. So we get x equals +1. Okay. Well, oh wait, I'm sorry. We divide by 5, not +5, because the number we're dividing both sides is 5. We want to get rid of 5, right? So we divide both sides by 5. So we should get -1 as the answer. Okay, so this is the way we normally do. But let's say, what if I want you to get rid of 5 first? What is the correct way to do? So if we want to get rid of 5 first, because between 5 and x, that is multiplication. So we're supposed to do division. But the problem is when we divide, now I highlighted both sides in each operation. So I always say both sides, both sides, both sides, and both sides, right? So in order to get rid of 5, we need to divide both sides by 5. And when we say both sides, we mean the entire side. The entire left-hand side needs to be divided by 5. We're dividing also the right-hand side by 5. So the left-hand side is the one that is tricky, because I saw in the past some students somehow thought, all right, you want to get rid of 5, so we're just going to divide this by 5 and that by 5, so we can get rid of 5. Unfortunately, this is incorrect. Okay, this is wrong. Why? Because you have to take the entire left-hand side. The 7 right here, you cannot forget about 7. 7 is also on the left-hand side, so you have to divide that 7 by 5, not just 5x by 5, because since 5x plus 7, they're both on the left-hand side. So that was the mistake, okay? So, and you can see there is a slight problem here. If we divide the entire left-hand side, 5x plus 7 by 5, and you got to divide each one separately, so you got to do 5x divided by 5. We actually will talk about this later in one of the later sections. So you're going to divide each term, 5x by 5 and 7 by 5. And 5 does cancel 5. That gives x by almost by itself, except there is a fraction after it. And now we want to get rid of the 7/5 because it's plus in front of them. We're going to do opposite of the plus, which is minus. We do subtract 7/5 and they cancel each other. And we do get x by itself now, and then 2/5 minus 7/5. So I'm going to rewrite it here. 2/5 minus 7/5. That gives us keeping the denominator, and 2 minus 7, it's -5, which gives a -1. Exactly the same answer. And first of all, you can see it's much longer, right? And the other thing is, why we don't like this way? Because of fractions. So if you do this way, most likely, most of the time, you're gonna end up with some fractions. Although your final answer is not a fraction, in the process of division, you could create some fractions. So we created some fractions which we don't like, and then you have to get rid of a fraction. Okay, and so this is why we choose the first solution, get rid of 7 first. Okay, because when you do subtraction, we still subtracted both sides by 7. So the left-hand side is 5x plus 7, and then you subtract 7. You just, minus, you just put it right after what we have on the entire left-hand side, minus 7. So you just do 7 cancel 7. But for division, you have to divide both of them by 7. So you're going to divide 5x, sorry, by 5, both 5x by 5 and 7 by 5. That can, create some fractions, okay, and more work to do. Okay, so hopefully this will explain why we don't want to get rid of 5 first, the number in front of x. You can think of this 5x kind of like they're bundled together, okay, temporarily. They're closer than 7, okay. 7 is not really that close to x. So you get rid of 7 first, and then after you get rid of 7, you can get rid of 5 in front of it. So you notice here when we do division, because we only have 5x, so we just need to divide 5x by 5. There's nothing after 5x anymore, because if you do have a 7 there, you actually will create a fraction because we don't have anything here. There's nothing here, right? So that's why, you just get rid of that 5. Okay, so remember this. So you can think of the number in front of x like we call it coefficient, but you can think of them like a bundle together. Okay, so you want to get rid of 7 first and then get rid of that 5. Excuse me. Any questions? So if you understand this is, I think, the only important thing in this section. When we have 2 numbers to get rid of, remember which one you get rid of first. That would, which way is easier. So we can look at this question now. So again, because between -3 and x, that's multiplication. So think of them, -3 and x that closer than -4 to x. Okay, so we're going to get rid of -4 first. Again, there are 2 different ways to do. Yes, you can get rid of -3, but if you do that, you're gonna have to divide it both by -3. That created a fraction here, right? So which we don't like. So let's try not to do that. So we're gonna get rid of that 4 by adding. Get rid of -4 by adding a 4. That cancels out. That leaves us a -3x equals -6. And now we want to get rid of -3. So we divide both sides by -3. And any number divided by itself, we always get a 1. So we get x on the left and a +2 on the right. Okay. All right, so this is pretty much the only type of question we have for this section, 3.0.